there was a article that I really wanted to share with you guys, and I thought it was a really cool article. During this time of the season when training camp is coming up, there are people who come up with these lists that are very provocative, to say the least. This comes from the NFL Analysis Network. It says 5 bold predictions for the AFC North in 2024. Says the AFC North is in for an interesting year in what seems to be a dense of a division year over year as any league. It's as stacked as they come in the AFC North. However, it won't be without surprises. Here are 5 shots at predicting the unpredictable for the Cleveland Browns, Pittsburgh Steelers, Cincinnati Bengals, and the Baltimore Ravens. So let's take a look at and see which one of these bold predictions I agree with, I don't agree with, and if I can foresee any of these happening. Let's go look to the first one. Mike Tomlin's 500 record comes to an end thanks to Russell Wilson. Mike Tomlin has earned at least as many wins as losses every year since he took over the Steelers' head coach job in 2007. However, the 17-year streak comes to an end in 2024. You know what's crazy? That's wild. 17 years of being over 500 is ridiculous. That's wild. Even though, I don't like the Steelers, that's something to behold a little bit. That's something to be impressed by. Just when fans think it could be the easiest road to an over 500 record since Ben Roethlisberger's retirement, Russell Wilson ends Tomlin's winning run. The way it happens is Wilson maintains the team around 500 all season long and plays just well enough to avoid getting benched. However, in a win and in scenario, he loses the game and falls under 500 at 8-9. This is really a good. I like what he did right here, because I think this is a very tricky year for the Steelers, to say the least. You brought 2 guys in, right? You bring Russell Wilson in, who is on the back part of his career. You bring another guy in Justin Fields who has a lot of upside, and you kick the tires on that to see if he's going to be a guy that can, really, really become a quarterback of the future for you. But when you look at Russell Wilson, I think he does play well enough. I even think that Russell Wilson would get off to a decent start. I think I can foresee them get off to about a 3-1 start, and then all of a sudden, people are saying, "Wow, look at this Steelers team. Steelers tied for first place, or the Steelers are right in contention." Russell Wilson's been playing great, hasn't turned the ball over, and then he hits a little bit of skid in the middle of the year. And that skid involves not pushing the ball downfield, holding on to the ball, and some turnovers, and they go on a 3 or 4 game losing streak. And now you're in the conundrum. Do we stay with him because he did have a hot start, or are we going to go to Justin Fields? To me, I think any way you cut it, they got to see what they got in Justin Fields this season. Unless Russell Wilson is playing at a borderline all-pro level, I think eventually he'll give way to Justin Fields, who will give the Steelers another wrinkle, another dynamic player that can really kind of lean on the run game, play action, and use his legs a little bit to extend play. So I think you will see him. But this is my vote of confidence on this. I think the Steelers are improved. I can see this happening. I say I give this a 60% chance of happening. 60%. All right, let's move right along. Number 2, Joe Burrow reestablishes Burrowhead. Patrick Mahomes will have spent nearly 3 years building towards winning the first three-peat in NFL history. However, the road to the big game runs through Cincinnati for the Chiefs as another bubble-level seed. Joe Burrow, armed with much less to lose than Mahomes, wins a tight playoff battle for the Bengals. After the game, one player makes a Burrowhead joke, a reference to Arrowhead Stadium, and the rivalry turns even more competitive heading into 2025. For me, I don't see this popping off. I think, he got his opportunity to do that, and they made those jokes about Burrowhead. I think that the Bengals, their main focus should be on saying, look, we got to get the highest seed that we can get. We're trying to survive the gauntlet in the AFC North, and we just want to see if Joe Burrow can stay healthy. They got T. Higgins, they got Chase, they got some good pieces and parts. I like the young running back they got. My problem with them, they lost DJ Reader. My problem with them as well is, there's a lot of guys asking for a bunch of money, And if you don't get off to a Hendrickson, if you don't get off to a really fast start, you may have some people that kind of turn into a little bit of a mutiny. But I do think the Bengals will be a borderline playoff team. I think they could make the playoffs, and I think they're one of the top 3 teams in the AFC North. For this confidence level that Joe Burrow reestablishes Burrow had, I got to go lower than that. I got it about a 25% chance that goes down. Let's keep it pushing. This one is funny too. Deshaun Watson, your Deshaun Watson of the Cleveland Browns, wins the AFC North. After years of waiting, the Deshaun Watson trade finally returns a dividend. The Browns win their first division title since '89 per Pro Football Focus and Pro Football Reference. Suddenly, the quarterback's 5-1 run with the team in 2023 looks like the first steps towards a new era. Baker Mayfield, who has won the comparison and shades up at this point, gets dealt his first big blow. So this one is the one we concentrate on. When you look at this, a lot of times we talk about it. People say he hasn't played well. He hasn't played well. Now, all of a sudden, if they win the AFC North, now all of a sudden you look at it, he's 5-1 in record with the team in 2023. He builds on that. And if you're going to win the division, chances are, if you win in the division, you're telling me you're winning what, 12 games? 12 games, 13 games if you win the division. So you say he wins, say you just win, say they win 13 games, right? They're playing 18 games? They're 13. So they go 13-5, right? 13-5 or somewhere around there. Now you got a record that he's playing right now. 18 plus wins right now that you have. 18 in what, about 6 or 7? All of a sudden his record looks a lot better. And by the way, if he wins the AFC North, not only does that put them in contention to they're going to have a first round playoff game, that means that they can be in contention for the number 1 overall seed. If they win the AFC North and you have the number 1 seed, that means Deshaun Watson probably put up some great numbers, roughly about 4,000 or so, low interceptions, no turnovers. And that means Deshaun Watson is probably in line to be a comeback player of the year, probably a Pro Bowler. So, just by reading the tea leaves on this one, it's a lot of things that you can kind of read from this. And there's a lot of things that if you tell me at the end of this year that Deshaun Watson leads the Browns to the AFC North title, then I can tell you about 6 or 7 other good things that probably is going to happen in regards to that. What's my confidence level? Like I said before, I give all of the main players a decent chance. I got the Browns at a 25. Actually, I had them at 30. Let's be clear about that. I think I had them I think I had the everybody at 30, and then I gave the Steelers a 10% chance. 30 for the Bengals, 30 for the Browns, 30 for the Ravens, and then 10% for the 10% chance for the Steelers. So I'm gonna go with this. This is 30% chance of happening, which is nice odds for the Browns. Let's go to the next one. Lamar Jackson takes a step back. Lamar Jackson has won 2 MVPs for a reason. However, he also has come up short in the seasons as well. The 2024 campaign will serve as 1 year to forget for the Ravens. Quarterback Derrick Henry proves to be ineffective on his second team as age sets in the running back. As a result, Jackson becomes forced into serving as an engine of the offense once again. This time, however, defenses are ready for him after another offseason of preparation. Now, this one is something that I've been picking. I gave the Ravens just a second ago a 30% chance of winning the division. But for any team that I could see that could possibly take a step back, it will be the Baltimore Ravens, just for the simple fact that they lose offensive linemen. Second of all, they lose Patrick Queen. Derrick Henry is up there in age. Lamar Jackson has not shown the ability to throw his team past, the first round of the playoffs. And they lose receivers as well. So besides Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews, you lose Odell Beckham Jr., you lose a lot of guys. You got some guys coming back from injury. The running back who his name think it's Keaton Mitchell. He actually tore his ACL last year. So for me, the Baltimore Ravens are a team that have consistently been there. They've been consistently doing it, been consistently been able to do it under Harbaugh. But as we talked about earlier with Tomlin, it come a time when, you know what, really, to be truthful, you're going to have a bad year and you're going to take a couple injuries here, a couple injuries here. Can I see Lamar Jackson and Ravens taking a step back? Sure, I do. I think this is kind of high. I think this is a 50-50 chance. I don't think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be the 13-14 win Baltimore Ravens team. I just don't see it. I think this is a 50% chance this happens. And even if they take a step back, it's not saying that they won't win 9 games. It's not saying that they won't win 10. It's not saying that. But I do think being at the top of the food chain, there's a chance that they get knocked down in the pecking order of the AFC. And finally, TJ Watt breaks sack record at 11th hour. TJ Watt has quietly dominated in the last 2 seasons. Since the start of 2021, the Steelers edge rusher has logged at least 18 sacks twice. He brushed up against Michael Strahan's record before. However, this time he smashes it, earning 24 sacks in 3 coming in the last game of the year. Detractors note that the 17 games Watt had to do it and compared to Strahan's 16, but the NFL still touts the accomplishments as history anyway. I don't think he's going to do this. People forget TJ Watt came off of a major injury at the end of the year. I think he'll get his 16. I think he'll maybe even get 17. To break the record is very difficult at 24. I think that his wear and tear is starting to, show a little bit. Tremendous player. Not hating on him at all. He's always uber. His motor just never stops. He's just super talented. When you look at him. So for me, I just don't think coming off an injury that I could just claim that he's going to be break the sack record. Does he have the talent level to do it? Yes. Do I think he will? No. Chance of this happening, I'll give it maybe 10% chance. 10% chance. He'll be in double digits, but it'll be 10%. So that was an interesting little list. I enjoyed that. I actually think it was spot on from some of it, and I think it hit the nail on the head with some of the things that could possibly happen in a very competitive AFC North.